It's time to get started on another reaction video. Hello, my name is Shaneria. This is Talking Crime. And if you are new here, don't forget to join the family by subscribing, like, and comment, and sharing this video. If you're returning, you already know how we like to do it. Let's get straight into today's reaction.
Okay, story time on how my husband went to prison for unaliving our child and tried to make me share blame. I've been quiet on this story for years now, and I think it's about time I tell my truth. I lost friends and people have been acting funny with me behind this situation. So here goes nothing. So May of 2022, I came home from a 10-hour shift, got me and my kids ready for bed, you know, nightly duties, same as usual, nothing crazy. 4, maybe 5 a.m. in the morning, I was waking up by a phone call from my husband. I answer the phone and he's like, hey, she's not breathing. And I'm like, who? And he says Kiara, which is our baby girl. She was like 2 months old around this time. So I get up and rush right into the living room and found my daughter just laying there lifeless on the couch. So immediately I call 911. I tell them my daughter's not breathing, I don't know what's going on. So they tell my husband to do chest compressions until the ambulance get there. So the ambulance arrived and they take over on chest compressions on our daughter. They tell us to go in the kids' room and wait. So we're sitting in the kids' room. I have my oldest daughter in my lap. I'm rocking back and forth. I'm just like, please, like, bring her back. I don't know what's going on. I didn't even question my husband or anything. I just want my daughter to be okay. So 30 minutes to an hour, they're like, we have a pulse. I'm like, oh, thank God, she's okay. In my mind, thinking she's okay. They rush us to the hospital and we get dressed and we head to the hospital as well. We get to the hospital and we're waiting on results. My daughter is complaining, my oldest daughter, Melanie, complaining and saying she's hungry and you know what kids do. She was 2 at the time. So I tell my husband, I'm gonna bring Melanie home, get her some breakfast, clean up a little bit, and then we're gonna switch spots. When we get home, I get a call from a detective and he's like, hey, can you come in? We have some questions. I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, cool. This is protocol, nothing serious. Me and my oldest daughter, Melanie, get there and we are there for like 6 hours plus. They're asking us all of these different questions and taking pictures of my daughter because she had bruises. My bad, I think I messed that video up. Well, the clip before that. But that's a story time for another day. I don't want to like keep jumping back and forth from different stories about the bruises on my oldest daughter. So we're waiting and waiting. They're asking all these different questions as to what happened. You know, I told my truth. I told what I know. So eventually he comes back and he was like, well, your husband is telling us that he shook Kiara and he harmed Melanie. And I'm like, what? That can't be. There's no way. I mean, he would have told me that, you know. And they're like, yeah, that's what he told us. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm just sitting in disbelief. So I guess he leaves and goes do whatever. And we're sitting there waiting for I don't know how long. He comes back and he's like, all right, we're gonna get you up out of here. Woody woody woo. So we leaving and another detective stops us and was like, hold on, Ms. Neely, we got some more to talk about. And I'm like, I just want to go to the hospital and see my daughter. Like, what's really going on? So a lady walks in and she's like, hey, I'm such and such with CPS and we're here for Melanie. And I'm like, why? Like, what's going on? Like, what? I didn't do anything. I don't think my husband did anything. I don't even believe was what they're telling me. I don't know what's really going on. She tells me that she can't really tell me anything, that she just have to come get Melanie. So I'm just sitting there in disbelief. I'm in shock. I'm like, this is not happening to me right now. So I asked her if I could if she can come with me to get the car seat, put it in your car, because she's gonna act a fool if I just put her in your car. They agreed, so I did that. I put her in the car. She's already acting a fool because she's like, something ain't right, you know. So I buckle Melanie in and everything, and she's crying and crying and crying and reaching for me, and there's like nothing I could possibly do. She drives off, and I'm just watching my daughter in the back seat screaming and reaching for me, and I'm just like, it hurts so bad because as a mom, I could not do anything. So I get into my car, and the first thing I do is call my husband's squad leader. I forgot to mention we are both military. So I call his squad leader, and I'm telling them everything that they told me. I told them what's going on with Kiara. CPS took Melanie, my oldest daughter, and I'm just crying on the phone. And he's like, okay, hold on, I'm on the way. So he comes and he goes in and asks questions and see what's going on. So he comes back out and tells me that I can't talk to him. He has to go straight to the barracks, but you can meet me at the barracks, and y'all can talk and see what's going on. So I meet them at the barracks, and he gets in the car, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What happened? Like, why are they saying this? Is it true? He's like, yeah, it's true. He couldn't tell me what happened with Melanie, but he told me basically that he shook Kiara because he was upset that she wouldn't stop crying. So I'm just sitting there in disbelief. I'm just quiet. I'm like, this is not happening. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is my husband. I gotta see this through. I'm married to this man. So I tell him, you need help. You need to go see therapy. You need to do something in order for this marriage to work. Because as of right now, I'm ready to divorce you and leave you right now. But let's try to get through this. In the meantime, I'm gonna go check on Kiara, and I'm gonna go try to get Melanie back. So he goes back into the barracks, and I go to the hospital. And when I get to the hospital, the doctor's like, hey, so she has bleeding in her brain. She has fractures in her chest, probably possibly from the chest compression. I don't remember everything that he told me because it was like 3, almost 4 years ago. But I just remember her being brain dead from the whole incident. So I'm just sitting there looking at my daughter with all these machines hooked to her, and she's just sitting there lifeless. And I'm just like, this can't be my life. So it's getting late. I go back to my car and try to figure out how I'm gonna get my oldest daughter back. So now I'm calling my mom, I'm calling my dad, my brother calls me, I'm telling everybody what's going on. And hearing my mom wail on the phone, boohoo crying, that was so painful to hear. And it's just, that was hard. So then I get another call from, I guess, his platoon leader, I think it was. And he's like, hey, we got to get you a hotel voucher because you can't go home. I'm like, I can't go home? Why I can't go home? He was like, because your house is under investigation, so we got to get you a hotel voucher for tomorrow. Do you have somewhere to go for tonight? For other days, they're going to get me a temporary home on the military base and stuff like that. So I told him, I could stay with my mom and my brother. So I went to my mom and my brother's apartment, and I just kind of laid there, and I'm like, I lost everything in under 24 hours. My life fell into pieces in 24 hours. My daughter is in the hospital. CPS has my oldest daughter. And my husband is possibly going to be going to jail. And I lost my house. As you know, I can only fit so much into one video, so like and comment for part 2.
People in general, especially military people, need to be evaluated and see, because a lot of stuff starting to happen now, especially as far as military people. But shaking a baby, tragic, just tragic. And how long any of this was going on?
Story time on how my husband went to prison for unaliving our child and tried to make me share blame, part 2. Okay, so next day I went back up to the hospital to visit my youngest daughter, Kiara. And machines are still hooked up to her, no real progress or anything. And the doctors are telling me, like, it's not really much that we can do, but just hope and pray, something may change, but you know, it's not really looking too good. It's just looking like this is what she's gonna be like for the rest of her life, a vegetable basically. So it's been like the same routine for maybe a couple days. I think CPS ended up doing the whole court thing over the phone. I don't know if that was same day or like a couple days later, but yeah, it's been the same routine. Getting up, going to the hospital, seeing my daughter, just sitting with her, and you know, just hoping for a miracle. I think I went 3 days without eating, my mom told me, and her and my sister started coming up to the hospital, making sure I eat, you know, and sitting with me with Kiara and stuff like that. So we're at the end of the week. Same deal, nothing really changed. So the doctor told us, you know, either you can leave her like this and we will just have to move her into a home or something like that, or we could pull the plug. So I'm left with the hardest decision to pull the plug on my child, because who wants to live a life just existing? She doesn't know anything. She can't feel anything. She can't eat, really. She can't do anything but just lie there on machines. I wouldn't want to live a life like that. If I end up in a situation like that, you know, just being a vegetable, I would want, you know, someone to pull the plug on me. It's just no way to live, in my opinion. So I made the hardest decision to pull the plug. So they allowed my husband to come to the hospital for the first time to see her, you know, because pulling the plug. And we're just holding her, loving on her, you know, and they pulled the plug. That was hard to watch, you know, just your child die in front of you. Like, oh, hold on. I'm sorry, I don't like crying on camera. I did not think I was gonna cry. But after that, you know, they asked if I wanted, you know, a piece of her hair, you know, just like stuff yeah. So they give me her footprints and stuff like that, and you know, I leave the hospital and they have the temporary home available for me now. So it's nighttime. I'm in the temporary home finally by myself, and I lay down in the bed and I just bawl. I just start crying. I think this was actually that was the second time I cried, but I got to like just kind of release, I guess. But I had a moment, I was so angry with God, and I was just screaming, how could you do this to me? How could you let this happen to me? You know, it was horrible. Oh my God. Also, to add, while I was in the hospital with Kiara, I had to go to this court for my oldest daughter, Melanie, that's with CPS. They asked, you know, if I would like visitation. And I said no, only because I knew in my mind, she's going to be back with me tomorrow. Like, it's no point of doing all this visitation stuff. Y'all finna give her back to me. Then a month goes by. Have not seen my child, haven't really heard anything. Now we're in court again. I finally speak to my lawyer, and she's telling me you need to do these visitations, because if you don't, it's gonna look really bad on you. So of course I agreed to visitation. I was gonna do it anyway. I haven't seen my child in a month. Like, so months go by. A lot has happened. I cut my mom off. I stopped talking to her. It's just a lot of things that was just going on with me. I was angry, and just a lot. I had to go to the cemetery and discuss what we want to do with my daughter, either cremation or to bury her. We decided to do cremation. I decided to do cremation because I wanted her with me everywhere I go. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel in my heart, in my spirit, she is so happy to be with me. So maybe a couple months later, I found out I'm pregnant with my son. I started hearing that CPS might end up taking my son as well, you know, because of given the situation. I'm still staying married to my husband. I'm trying to work things out, and they're not liking that at all. I know I got a lot of judgment for sticking beside my husband after he unalived our child, but in my mind it was just like, I mean, this is my husband, I gotta see this through, and he's talking about killing himself and da 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 da. I don't want him to kill himself. I'm really trying to just like make sure he stays okay and everybody is okay, you know. And CPS was giving me a hard time. They made me feel like the worst mother in history. They didn't think I knew how to protect my child. They just thought, you know, I was not fit to be a mother. And, you know, I honestly started to believe that after a while of them continuously just jabbing at me. You're a bad mom. You're a bad mom. You're a bad mom. They're not necessarily saying I'm a bad mom, but the way they made me feel was just like, you don't deserve to be a mother. So months go by, I'm talking to different lawyers. They're trying to get my husband's sentence lowered, and, you know, they're telling me he's gonna do time, obviously, you know, given the situation. So, with visitation, for a whole year, I was doing, well, not for a year, I want to say for a couple months, I was doing supervised visits at a center or something like that. I remember my daughter's guardian ad litem was like, there's no connection between you and your daughter, and it was just like, I haven't seen her in a month. She's just looking at me like, you know, maybe she's angry at me. I mean, you just never know. It was just a lot going on, and they were just on my neck. Oh my God, it was so horrible how bad they were on me. So now almost a year have passed, and it's April 11th, the court date of my husband's sentencing, and the day before my daughter Kiara's birthday. Her birthday was April 12th, 2022. They sentenced him to 10 years because he took a guilty plea. He was charged with manslaughter, and I can't remember the other charges, but feel free to look it up. His name is Jacory Neely. When you type it in on Google, it's there, and it's military. So after that, things really started moving in my favor. CPS really started to be on my side now. Eventually, I get unsupervised visits with my oldest daughter, and things just starting to look better. While all this is happening, you know, I'm still communicating with my husband, still trying to work things out. They have this app called GTO Connect or something like that, and, you know, I could communicate with him in jail through the app. Almost forgot. I ended up having my son April 18th of 2023 after my husband went to jail. They didn't take my son. Again, I was getting unsupervised visits with my daughter. I think in the clip before I said I was getting unsupervised visits. I was getting supervised visits in the beginning with CPS and stuff. So everything's looking good. I have my son and my daughter. You know, she was practically, you know, living with me now. You know, we were getting all these unsupervised visits like days after days, you know, because it was getting close to the court date where they were just going to dismiss the case, and case closed. I have my child back. And this is after a year. So 2023, I don't remember the month. Case closed, case dismissed. I have my child back. Thank God. Everything's going great. Like and comment for part 3. It's about to, you know, you only get 10 minutes.
Wow. That was a lot to unpack in part 2. Like, you could have been had your daughter back if you just would have followed the protocol or whatever. Why even support somebody that was willing to shake your child up and bruise your other child or harm your other child, and yet you went through the whole court thing supporting him? Like, what do you have to work out? I mean, everybody is different, but what did you have to work out after you just had to decide to pull the plug on your daughter, on your youngest child? You had to decide to pull the plug. Like, the priorities was all messed up, it seemed like it, because I feel like you would have got that daughter back ASAP if you would have followed the protocol, if you would have lost contact, like not going back and forth, like trying to decide whether you should be there for somebody that was willing to tear your whole family apart by you losing a child. Like I'm confused in that part. Like, why? What was the point? Like, that, to me, there's nothing else that can be explained of why. Like, it, to me, I feel like that was a dumb move. You would have been got your oldest daughter back.
Okay, story time on how my husband went to prison for unaliving our child and tried to make me share blame, part 3. So after, case been dismissed, everything's looking good. I'm getting ready to move back to my hometown in Texas. I was living in Washington State when all of this transpired. So then I come to the realization that if I stay with this man, I'm going to be on my toes for the rest of my life. I can't trust him around my children. I just didn't want to live my life scared that he may do it again. So I text him on the little jail app and I'm like, hey, I think it's best that we get a divorce. I can't do this. I did my best to try to work things out with you, and he was going to therapy and stuff but didn't make any progress. He wasn't talking about his problems. He was letting his pride, take over. The reason we even got in this whole situation is because he wouldn't communicate. He wouldn't talk about his problems. During, the whole thing, I had found out he cheated on me with somebody else. He didn't necessarily sleep with the girl, but he was flirting with her. He been to her barracks room and watched a movie. Hard to believe, but yeah. And still, I tried to stand beside him. So I'm telling him I want a divorce and the whole 9, and he gets mad. I shouldn't want the divorce. Why not? He was saying, you've been holding all this in. You was talking to me about communicating when you weren't communicating. Okay. I just tell him, I just want you to be here for our son we have together. Just try to stay involved with him. I'll send pictures of him and, stuff like that. He didn't want any of that. He said he didn't care about Keena.
Girl, what made you stick by a person that really didn't give 2 fucks? I don't give a hell. Your daughter came first. And the worst part is, his daughter is the one he killed. Your daughter is the one he bruised. And you thought everything was going to be okay when he got out of prison after he done took his own blood child life and injured your other child. Like, that was just the dumbest thing ever.
He said he didn't care about Kenai. He didn't care about, my son's name is Kenai. He didn't care about any of that. So I was like, okay, I still left the door open for him. He ended up blocking me on the jail app. All right, whatever. I text his mom, let her know. I told him I want to get a divorce. He blocked me on the jail app, but I still want him to participate and try. Well, not really participate, but still try to not really be involved, but just ask about his son. I'll send pictures and stuff. Just try to be there the best you can. His mom wasn't feeling it. You're all he has.
No, she wasn't all he had. He had y'all. He had you the mama, you his mama, you raised him. So really they was trying to guilt trip her.
Everyone was, I'm not gonna say everyone, his side of the family was upset with me because I wanted a divorce. His grandfather used to call and check up on us. I haven't heard from him since I mentioned the divorce. And I don't care. I just want support for my son. That's it. You got nothing to do with me. Now it's about your son. But they didn't care. Calling him the kid. Just nobody really cared on his side. It was just the fact that I'm divorcing him and I'm wrong for wanting to divorce him. It's not right. He's in there, he's in jail, and you're out here. It's harder for him. And then I was telling him, it's really hard to be with somebody, after that person unalive your child you have together. And he was like, well, I didn't unalive her. We both made the decision to pull the plug. So you're trying to make me share blame in her not being alive because I decided to pull the plug? She wasn't even really alive, just sitting there on the bed. She was just a body with no soul, honestly. It's like he didn't understand, okay, you put her in that situation. You hospitalized her. Even then, when you shook her, I think she was gone at that point because, the ambulance had to come in and do chest compressions to bring her back. So, anyway, after a while, he ended up unblocking me, and then I guess wanted pictures of Kenai and stuff like that. For maybe 2 years, it was cool. I was just sending pictures. He never really asked for pictures anymore. I was just sending pictures. Then he would just ask about me and just like, I'm fine. And then sometimes he'll ask about, how the kids, they're good, all right, cool. So kind of recently things was getting a little weird. He started calling again more often. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want to talk to Kenai? No, I'm not ready to talk to Kenai. Okay, what are we talking about then? He wants to talk about me. He wants to talk about my progress. What am I doing? And then what he's doing in there. And I'm just like, not to sound insensitive, I don't care. I just want you to focus on Kenai. What's Kenai doing? How's Kenai? Well, is he walking? Is he crawling? Is just. So now Kenai is 2 years old, and I've been trying to keep him updated on Kenai, on his new words he's learning, and just the whole exciting things you would want to talk about. You have not met your son. You went to jail before, you went to prison before he was born. So me personally, I would think you would want to know about your son. Nope. Just quiet on the phone, didn't say anything, didn't want to know. So after that phone call, he's continued to keep calling, and I was just ignoring it because I was uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about me and you. I want to talk about your son, and you don't want to talk about him. So one day he messaged me saying, I love you, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Sent him a message telling him, if you don't want to talk about your son, I don't want to talk at all. We will not communicate unless it's about your son. He then blocks me again. Oh well, still, even though it's kind of years later, we're still going through with the divorce. A lot has been going on in between, and yeah. But now we are here in 2026. I'm doing amazing. I am healing. I haven't healed all the way 100%. I am still healing. My kids is doing amazing. Melanie is doing amazing. She is now 6 years old. My son is 2, and Kiara would have been going on 4 this year in April. And it's so funny because my birthday is April 13th. Her birthday, Kiara's birthday, is April 12th. And Kenai, my son, is April 18th. All little Aries. But yeah, we are happier. Things are amazing. We're back in Texas with our family. And yeah, I'm a tax preparer. I'm in the Army Reserve. It's just things are really looking good for me, and yeah, we're good. I'm gonna put a picture of Kiara in the end. May she rest in peace. I love her so much, my little minnow. A little off topic. The line Little Minnow came from Moana. I love Disney. As you can see, Kiara was named after Kiara on Lion King, and Kenai was named off of Brother Bear, if you know the movie. Just a little word of advice: whatever you are going through, with God's grace, it is gonna get better. With everything I went through, things have been amazing for me. I started going back to church. I got rebaptized. I feel good. I feel great. Things are just, yeah. So that's really the end of my story. I think I probably left out a couple things, but I will answer any and all questions. If you're confused about something, I'm an open book. I don't have anything to hide. So thank you all for watching. Okay, I need to clear something up because it's a lot of judgment coming from people who don't understand trauma or me. Some of the comments on my storytime videos cross the line, so I'm going to speak once and clearly. I shared my story for my own healing, not for opinions. But some things that are being said needs to be corrected. Yes, I tried to work things out with my husband after he unalived our child. That decision came off of shock, grief, and survival, not approval of what happened. Now let's address these comments, some of them. First comment was, why would I still want him to be a father? He hated his kids. You don't get to rewrite my children's lives based off of assumptions. Wanting stability for my children during trauma does not mean I ignored reality. It means I was trying to protect them while my world was collapsing. Why did I care if he hurt himself? Because caring about someone's life doesn't mean excuse their actions. Two things can exist at once: humanity and accountability. I can condemn what happened and not want more death added to my children's trauma. Another comment was, why would I stay? You don't like your kids either. That's false, for one. Also, staying during trauma does not equal lack of love. It equals confusion, shock, and trying to survive something unimaginable. People have been calling me names too, calling me a bird, and saying also that I should have went to jail too. I am not sorry for caring, and I am not sorry for doing the best I could to protect myself and my children. Also, another question was, why did I cut my mother off for a year? I won't go deep into that because me and my mom have been on and off for years before that. So even if that situation didn't happen, she most likely still would have got cut off. So honestly, her being cut off really didn't have anything to do with the whole situation. It was just what me and my mom had going on anyway. But we are good now. We talked it out and everything's great. She helps me with my kids. We're good. I really wish that some of y'all would focus more on the positive instead of the negative. I made it. I'm here. My kids are safe. My husband is in jail. I am waiting on the divorce to finalize. We are happy and healthy and moving on with life. A lot of y'all are speaking from the outside looking in, and the truth is, you will never know what you would do until it's you, until it's your child, until it's your trauma, until it's your marriage, until your nervous system trying to shut down. You will never know until it's you. And it's so easy to say what you would do because it's not your life. And if you are confused on what I am speaking on, all my stories are posted on my TikTok profile, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Again, I am an open book. I don't mind any questions. Just try not to be rude or I will delete your comment. I also want to thank everybody for their love, support, and grace. Your prayers mean so much to me, more than you know. God sees you, and I really appreciate y'all. And if you would like to support me further, I am a tax preparer. You can file with your girl or just simply share my flyers. You can find me on Facebook at Deja Trahan Neely. Thank y'all again, and I really appreciate it.
At the end of the day, I don't think you need to clear anything up. The only person had the last say so is God. So whether you was traumatized, doing this all survival, whatever it is, when people are on the outside looking in, they're going to think it's crazy as hell that you would be willing or want him around your other kids again after one has been hurt by him, one was murdered by him, and now you have another one. So of course these questions are valid because they want to know. They want to know your answer. So of course everybody is not going to cheer you on or be on your side because of what? Like, this story is sad, but at the same time, people going to want to know. And if you put this stuff on social media, it's going to be a lot of people that's not on your side, a lot of people that are on your side. But at the end of the day, you put the story out, so people are going to give their opinions to it. So yes, I think it was crazy work that you was trying so hard to work on a family that he obviously didn't even want. Like, he didn't want the family because he destroyed it by shaking your child to death, and then turn around the second child that you had by him, once he found out that it was a second child, he really didn't want anything to do with that child. And you was literally trying to force it on him by reaching out to his mother after he done blocked you on a app while he's in jail. 10 years is not enough. Like, it should have been longer than 10 years. And then the other thing, you giving him grace, but then he's gaslighting you and throwing it in your face like, oh, it's really your fault because you decided to pull the plug. Well, she wouldn't be in the damn hospital if it wasn't for you. So what are you talking about? What exactly did you want out of him? He had nothing else to give. He showed you exactly who he was, and you decided that you wanted to ignore it for the sake of y'all. But in his eyes, it's not even a y'all. Like, that's how I see it. I mean, I don't know, but the constantly keep blocking you, never asking about the son, like, all of that shows signs that he really didn't want a child by you. He really didn't want a family. He was willing to do time and get in trouble just to, like, take his own blood off this earth. Like, I don't know. Drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Don't forget to like, comment. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel, especially if you reached all the way to the end. If you are returning, like, comment, and share this video. I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.